Welcome to this timeless message reading. If this message has found you today, trust that it may have reached you for a reason. Sometimes the heart receives answers long before the mind understands them. Today's energy feels gentle, unexpected, and deeply emotional. As always, this is a collective reading, so take what resonates with your journey and gently leave the rest behind. The very first message coming through is this. Someone has been trying to convince themselves that what they feel for you is only temporary, but their heart refuses to let you go. Spirit keeps showing me a person who never expected you to become so important to them. At first, you were simply someone they noticed, someone who caught their attention for reasons they couldn't explain. Perhaps it was your smile, your kindness, the way you carried yourself, or maybe it was simply your energy. Whatever it was, something about you stayed with them long after the moment had passed. The cards suggest that this connection didn't begin with dramatic emotions. It began quietly, almost like a small spark. At first they believed it was nothing more than curiosity. They told themselves they were simply overthinking. They believed that with enough time, these feelings would naturally disappear. But Spirit says something unexpected happened. Instead of fading, the emotions became stronger. The more they tried to distract themselves, the more your energy returned. While they were working, your face crossed their mind. While they were spending time with friends, they suddenly remembered something you once said. Even during ordinary moments, your presence quietly appeared in their thoughts. Spirit says they have reached the point where pretending no longer works. This person is beginning to understand that what they feel is much deeper than they first believed. The cards keep revealing someone who has become emotionally surprised by their own heart. They weren't looking for these feelings. They weren't planning for this connection. In many ways, it happened when they least expected it. That is why they've struggled to understand it. Because sometimes the strongest connections arrive without warning. They don't ask for permission. They simply awaken something inside us. Spirit wants you to know something important. This isn't only attraction. This isn't simply admiration. The energy feels much more meaningful. This person sees something in you that is difficult to find in other people. They feel emotionally safe around your energy. They feel understood without needing to explain every part of themselves. Even if your conversations have been limited, even if you haven't spent much time together, your presence has left a lasting impression. The cards show them replaying small moments repeatedly. A conversation, a smile, a message, a simple interaction that may have seemed ordinary to you. Yet to them, those moments became unforgettable. Spirit says that's because your energy touched something inside them that had been asleep for a very long time. Now another message comes forward. This person keeps asking themselves questions they never expected to ask. What is happening to me? Why can't I stop thinking about them? Why does their energy keep returning? These questions have become part of their daily thoughts. Sometimes they answer them with logic. Sometimes they try to ignore them. But every answer eventually brings them back to the same realization. You matter to them, more than they intended, more than they planned, and certainly more than they expected. Spirit shows this person standing between two emotions, hope and fear. Hope tells them to move closer. Fear tells them to stay exactly where they are. Hope whispers that something beautiful could grow between the two of you. Fear reminds them how vulnerable love can make a person feel. This inner battle explains why their energy may sometimes feel confusing. One day they seem interested. The next day they seem distant. One moment they appear confident. The next they become unusually quiet. Please don't mistake this for a lack of feelings. Spirit says it's exactly the opposite. The emotions have become so strong that they no longer know how to hide them naturally. Sometimes people withdraw not because they feel less, but because they feel too much. The cards also reveal that this person has quietly imagined a future conversation with you. They've imagined telling you what has been sitting in their heart. They've imagined hearing your response. They've even imagined what life might look like if they found the courage to stop pretending everything was normal. But every imagined future ends with the same question. What if they don't feel the same way? That fear has become their greatest obstacle, not because they doubt you, because they doubt themselves. Spirit gently reminds them that love always requires courage. No meaningful connection can grow while every emotion remains hidden behind silence. The energy surrounding you, however, feels calm. You've learned not to force what is meant to unfold naturally. You've stopped chasing certainty. You've started trusting divine timing. That peaceful energy is one of the reasons they're drawn toward you. You don't create pressure. You create safety. You don't demand attention. You simply shine by being yourself. And Spirit says they notice that more than you realize. This story is still unfolding. The feelings are still growing. The answers are still arriving. But one thing already feels certain. This person can no longer convince themselves that you're just another passing thought. You've become someone whose energy continues to live quietly inside their heart. And that realization is changing everything. The energy continues unfolding, and Spirit immediately brings through another message. Their feelings are no longer growing quietly. They are becoming impossible for them to ignore. There was a time when they believed distance would help. They thought if they stayed busy, focused on work, spent time with other people, or simply avoided thinking about you, these emotions would eventually fade away. But the opposite happened. Every attempt to move on only seemed to bring them back to you. Spirit keeps showing me someone pausing in the middle of ordinary moments. They'll hear a song, see a place, notice a color, or come across something that unexpectedly reminds them of you. Without trying, your energy returns. Not because they're forcing themselves to remember, but because their heart has quietly made space for you. The cards reveal that this person has begun paying attention to the smallest details about you. They remember conversations that you may have completely forgotten. They notice changes in your energy. They remember the way you smiled during a certain moment. They even replay simple interactions, wondering if there was a hidden meaning they failed to understand. Spirit says this isn't obsession. It's emotional awakening. Sometimes a soul doesn't recognize the importance of someone until that person's energy begins living inside their thoughts. Another message comes through very clearly. This person has started imagining a future with you. Not just another conversation, not just another meeting, something much deeper. They've imagined sharing ordinary days together, laughing over simple things, supporting each other through difficult seasons, building memories instead of only imagining them. This surprises them because they never expected their heart to travel this far. At first they only wanted to know you. Now they want to understand you. At first they admired you. Now they genuinely care about your happiness. Spirit says that is the moment attraction becomes something meaningful. The cards continue showing hesitation, not because their feelings are uncertain, because they understand how important this connection has become. When something truly matters, people often become more careful. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of moving too quickly, afraid of losing something before it even begins. This explains why their actions may seem inconsistent. One day they feel courageous enough to reach out. The next day they convince themselves to wait. One moment they feel hopeful. The next moment doubt quietly returns. Their heart keeps moving forward. Their mind keeps asking them to slow down. Spirit smiles gently because many beautiful beginnings experience this exact struggle. Love asks people to become vulnerable, and vulnerability has always been one of the bravest things a person can choose. The energy surrounding you remains beautifully balanced. Spirit says you've reached a place where you no longer chase what belongs to you. Instead, you allow life to reveal what is truly aligned with your soul. That quiet confidence has become magnetic. It makes people feel comfortable around you. It makes them feel accepted. It makes them feel seen. The person coming through today feels exactly that. When they think about you, they don't only feel excitement, they feel peace. And peace is much rarer than excitement. Spirit wants you to know that this connection still has room to grow. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels forced. It feels like a seed that has already been planted beneath the surface. Although you cannot yet see everything happening, roots are quietly forming. Sometimes the most important growth happens where no one can see it. The cards also reveal something else. This person is beginning to understand that they cannot remain silent forever. Every day they keep these emotions hidden. The weight becomes heavier. Their heart keeps whispering the same question. What if I never tell them? What if they never know how deeply they've affected me? What if I lose this opportunity because I waited too long? Spirit says those questions are preparing them for action, not rushed action, inspired action. Because there comes a moment when the fear of staying silent becomes greater than the fear of speaking honestly. That moment feels closer than they realize. But Spirit also asks you to remember something important. Whether this person reaches out tomorrow, next month, or sometime further ahead, your happiness should never depend on another person's decision. Your light existed before they entered your life, and it will continue shining no matter what choice they make. You were never created to wait for someone else's courage before living your own life. Continue choosing joy, continue growing, continue protecting your beautiful heart. If this connection is truly meant to unfold, it will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. The final card appears surrounded by warm golden light. It carries one simple message. You have awakened something inside this person that they cannot ignore anymore. Whether they are ready to admit it today or not, their heart already knows the truth. You are no longer someone they occasionally think about. You have become someone they genuinely care for, someone whose presence brings comfort, someone whose absence is deeply noticed, someone whose energy continues calling them back. Spirit says this story is far from over. It is still unfolding exactly as it should. Allow divine timing to guide what comes next. Trust your intuition, trust your heart, and most of all, trust that the connections meant for your highest good will never need to be forced. They will naturally find their way toward you, one honest step at a time. Until our next reading, may your heart remain open, your spirit remain peaceful, and your path continue leading you toward the love that is meant to stay.